Hello, Alice. How you doing?
Hello, Paul. How are you?
Good.
Are you
I've only on the
behaving
wrong.
yourself now? Have
I'm on.
you?
I'm on. Yeah, I'm on the wrong side again. I don't know how I keep doing that. Hold on.
No, it's that way. That way.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
You got
it.
it. You got it. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. Welcome to Spiritual Talk.
Yes, this is great. Yeah,
It's Wednesday.
8 o'clock
Yeah.
tonight. Welcome to Spiritual Talk Live.
Great that everyone is here. It's good to see you guys. Let us know where you're coming in from as well. I don't know if you can see the comments coming up, Alice. We got Jane, we got Connie.
Yeah.
Hi, Zoe. Hi, Lou. Good to
Yeah.
see you guys. Let us know where you're coming in from as
Jane.
well.
Welcome,
We got
Jane.
Cindy as
Cindy.
well. We got, and Lou says hi. It's good to see you guys. No, I know Connie's coming in from Norfolk, good old Norfolk, and Jane's coming in from, well, Norfolk as well. Anybody from Scotland? Because we've got Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. She's coming in from North Carolina, USA.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And Zoe as well. Zoe welcome.
And Rish, hi Rish as well. She's watching from the Midlands. We got Debbie. Hi Debbie. She's coming in. It's great to see everybody. It's great to be back. There's Christian as well. Hi Christian. And Zoe's coming in from Lincolnshire. But we've got a lovely lady tonight. Our guest tonight is coming all the way in from Scotland. Scotland. So and I know you know this lady.
Scotland.
Is it not Scotland?
No, she's not living in Scotland now, my darling. No,
she's not in Scotland now. Okay. I'm on a different planet. Okay, I'll let you explain because you know this lady really well.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll let you introduce our guest.
No problem. Tonight's guest we have spiritual medium Janet Parker, and Janet is a minister who holds many titles behind her: MSNU, CSNU, DSNU. She's got lots of titles behind her. She's also a course organiser at the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted. And Janet, yes, her roots are Scottish, but and she did live in Scotland for a little while, Paul, so you're quite right. But then she moved on and she's now living in Yorkshire. So she's living in Yorkshire now.
I should pay more attention. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's Janet Parker. Hello, Janet, and welcome.
Hello, Paul. Hi, lovely to be here.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, you do have a lot of certificate qualifications through the National Spiritualist Union. Can you explain a little bit about the certifications and what they mean? Because when we promoted this video tonight, I think you had 3 main certification awarded by the National Spiritualist Union. Can you tell us a little bit about what they are and what they represent, please?
I mean, since I, started the journey of education, which is going back a long time ago, they've now added quite a few more. And so what they're doing now is they call it a PAS certificate, and it's PAS, and that stands for Platform Accreditation certificate. Except certificate doesn't begin with an S, so it's obviously something else. But all that means is they're looking at people on platform now, and they want to say, are these people, fit for purpose? That's a terrible thing to say, but you can understand what I mean, because there are people who perhaps get on platforms who shouldn't be there. And so they go in front of a board, and, the people that examine the examiners on the boards, most of them are very well accredited themselves. In fact, I used to do the boards. And we would look at someone and say, do you know what? Your mediumship is really good, and we think you deserve a place. But if you could just work on your speaking a little bit or whatever, it's also there to give people advice and to help. But when we look at the going for the certificates, It's all postal mostly, and you go through about 5 or 6 courses, and it might take you 12 months or so to fulfill your certificate requirements. And then you've got to go in front of a board, and you've got to satisfy, the 3 people that are critiquing you. And then, if they think that you deserve the certificate, then you get that. It's hard work, much more so than when I did my certificate. I mean, I just had to do about 3 external courses, but in between you had to go perhaps away for the weekend. We'd go to the Arthur Findlay College, and we were assessed there. And nowadays, when you have to sit all these courses, you're paying to do it as well.
Yeah.
So it costs quite a lot of money. So I got my certificate in speaking and demonstrating. I was quite happy with just the certificate. And people said to me, well, will it make you a better speaker or demonstrator? And I said, no, of course it won't. It's like you find beautiful healers, and then they've got to, they've got to be certified. But certified as healers, I hasten to add.
Yeah.
I would have to say that the certificate was for me, to prove to me.
Yeah.
There are so many of us that we have no doubt about spirit at all, but we do doubt ourselves. And by going through such a process, that gives ourselves a little bit of self-belief. And that is so very, very important. And so I'd had my certificate for a number of years, and then I was asked if I would go on the ministerial path, because I was very dedicated. It is a religion, and I know some people don't like that, but that's fine. It's right for me.
Yeah.
And each to their own. But I would have to find my diplomas then. So I would have to work at them. Oh, more courses. The diploma work was endless. And I was doing it. And then first of all, I got my certificate for speaking, my diploma for speaking. And I was on the path of ministry. So the first step is an OSNU, which I achieved. Now the OSNU, it's like a lay preacher. It's not quite a minister, but you are on the ministerial path. So I got my OSNU, and straight away they said, well, we want you to go straight on for the ministers. And I said, I'm not ready. I am not ready. And I said, I need time to, and I hope you'll understand this, but I need time to grow.
Yeah, massively.
And so I took 7 years before I sent off an email and said, this was to the Ministers' Committee, I'm ready. I feel that I want to do it. And so again, the courses for the ministry, oh my word. And, it used to take 7 years to become a minister. I know that's been cut down now. But I remember when I went to do my final assessment, I had an interview, and the person who was interviewing me, she was vice president of the union at that time.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I don't think that I am ready, you know. And she said, I know you're ready by the very fact that you've just said that.
Yeah.
Because for me, it wasn't about the title. It was, the ministry is all to do with being a shepherd, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, ministering to people in any way you can. And I love people. I don't care whether they're dead or alive. I love them. And so for me, it was such an honor to achieve that in the end. And so, as I say, I think it was 2002 that I was an OSNU, and then 2009 I was ordained. So it took a long while.
Yeah.
But it's right for me.
Yeah.
So some of the coursework is very, very hard now, Paul. You know, I've got friends doing it at the moment, and one of the courses is on comparative religions. So, and I had to do that one, and you're looking at every other religion and writing theses on it and so on. And it's, the more you know, the better you're educating yourself, you know. And again, lovely Bridie has just come on. So it's, you know, this is not, it is not for titles.
Yeah.
And I remember standing up once, and it was at a conference for ministers and officiants. And I said, you know, you do your CSNU and you do your DSNU. So people think, okay, I like doing all of these courses, you know, what's the next step? And somebody said, a minister. And I says, no. I says, because a minister is a calling. I says, if you want to keep doing your, you know, your diplomas, you can go on and become a fellow of the union. You can get diplomas in all kinds of different things. But unless you feel that calling, it's not just another step with letters.
Yeah.
I don't know what more I can tell you.
That was so beautifully put and so personalized for your own experience. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, for me personally, I'm kind of at that crossroads, and I feel like I'm not sure. I want to prove that I am capable, and you know, I've worked many years with spirit, but I struggle also with the idea of doing all the diplomas because it's not going to enhance my mediumship or my spiritual understanding. So this is where I'm kind of at that crossroads. I want to be of service, but I'm not sure how to be of service in a most effective way.
The only thing that I can say is, and I totally get you, you know, and I agree with a lot of that, but doing all these courses, I learned so much. Because, you know, you have to research and do all kinds of stuff. And all this education, because when you are in a position of being any kind of leader, be it circle leader, be it lecturer, being president of a church or whatever, the more spiritual knowledge that you have absorbed and that you know, actually it's very, very good, believe it or not. And especially when you're doing addresses or lectures or anything, you can pull on that knowledge, you know. So that's the only thing I can say to you, Paul. It might not make you a better medium. It might not make you a better person.
Yeah.
But it will make you more knowledgeable on the subject, which is very close to your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great point. Actually, Cindy just pointed out. Hi, Cindy. Growth is never a ending journey. It is a perpetual motion.
Yes.
That we must go through. And even when I look back, and that's why I remember somebody who still mentors me today. They said to me, always take notes on your journey, because you'll look back. It's like that old, look over your shoulder, look how far you've come. You don't realize it until you're at a certain point. But yeah, for me, it's an ever ongoing process. And I know there'll be a lot of people sitting here tonight, whether you agree with the National Spiritualist Union or whether it's you're on your own spiritual journey. And what is that? Because we'd love to know, guys, if whatever you're thinking. And Alice, you're doing your CSNU, Alice, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing my PASS and my TPS1. I'm doing both of them. It has been very educational. I'm just finding it hard to get the time to complete it because of everything else that I'm doing. So I don't know if I'm going to take it any further than that. I've enjoyed what I've been doing. I have enjoyed it. I've been told I will take it further, but I don't know if I will. I don't know. I don't really know yet, to be honest, but I have enjoyed doing what I've been doing so far. Yeah.
One of the things we love to ask our guests, Janet, is how did you know you was a medium? What happened on your journey?
First of all, it was nothing new to me because it was in the family.
Okay.
I remember, when I was a child that my nana and they would sit in a circle, and the table that they sat at was really very heavy,
Okay.
And it was, but my dad was mediumistic, and I know this. I wasn't there, but I do know the story that. They were on the table. There was my nana, my aunt. One of my aunts actually worked as a medium, my great aunt, my nana's sister. And anyway, it was Auntie Gertie who was coming through, if you like. She was the one in spirit. And my nana said, come on, to my dad. Come to the table. And he says, I don't need to go to the table. The table will come to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a heavy table.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one of the stories. But so it's in the family, but it's bizarre because it wasn't till my father died in 1977. He passed away. And it was 10 years after that I started to use my mediumship, and that I needed to explore how to use it. So there was an elderly gentleman who lived round the corner from me. He was in his 80s and he was a healer.
Okay.
And he said, you need to go to, and it was Tunstall Spiritualist Church. Now, Tunstall is in Staffordshire. It was a sister church to Longton.
Oh, okay.
And Longton was Gordon's church, Gordon Higginson's. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I had a good introduction. So and that was it. That was it. So yes, it was in the family.
Can I, sorry to divert slightly, did you ever see Gordon work?
Oh yes, he was the first one that took me to Stansted.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
just name drop. Just name drop. Go, yeah, he took me to
Yeah.
but
he
how
was
that?
he was very good. He recommended that I went on the teacher training course. I mean, he used to do workshops at Longton, and I'd go along there. And I was part of the West Midland group, and it was the education system.
Yeah.
And we'd got to go down for a weekend to be assessed. And I didn't know, but Gordon was one of the assessors,
Oh.
So I've got a written assessment, which is very, very nice.
Oh, from Gordon.
Yes,
have you framed it? Because I'd have probably framed it.
No. But he also did my naming ceremony at Stansted.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So that was 1991 when I had my naming ceremony. Yes, yeah.
That must have been a very proud moment.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So yes, I suppose I had a good. He wasn't my main tutor at all, but he encouraged me. And I know that one or two churches rang up, and they said, we would like you to visit our church. And I thought, how on earth have they got me? And of course, Gordon had recommended me. So, so that was it.
Lovely. That is
yes.
lovely. To be recommended by someone like Gordon Higginson, that just kind of blows your head. It just blows my mind, Alice. I don't know, but then I never met the man. I've watched his lectures on YouTube. And guys, if you want to watch a medium at work, there's a couple of great demonstrations on YouTube. Go check that out. But he was a great man, especially for the union. He really pulled it together.
I mean, when you look at the people who really came under, his auspices, I mean, Paul Jacobs and Simon James, well, they were the last two, that he really molded them. He really, really helped them and pushed them and worked with them. And that was great. Yeah. That really was. And we all became friends, because the guys were younger than me, and so it was just lovely. It was lovely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going off on many tangents. I'm so sorry, but there is that core of mediums from that particular time. But and I'm not here. I'm not here to be controversial about anybody or anything. But where do you see mediumship going and how it's changing today? And I'm not pointing fingers at anything or anybody. What's going on? The church numbers are down. People don't seem to be interested. All they just and I get it. Everyone wants a message, which absolutely everyone's looking for something spiritually, but there's something missing, isn't there? Especially with new mediums coming through today.
I'm so sorry. No, it's fine. You're fine, and I'm thinking hard before I answer it. But you look at society as a whole today, and it's a throwaway society, and it's an instant society. And back in those days, when we started, the churches would be full because people wanted to come along and hear the speakers and watch the demonstration. Nobody really wanted to be a medium. So what's happening now? You've got everybody wanting to be mediums. Yeah. And they don't want to put the work in. I mean, we used to go up and down the country and, you know, and really it was like an apprenticeship. But you get so many now who want to start at the top. And they want to ignore the churches. They just want to start in the big halls. And how much can I charge? And somebody rang me up and said, you know, how do I get a manager? And they've been doing it for 18 months, you know.
Wow.
And yes. And so, you know, you've got genuine people trying very hard to understand and improve their mediumship. But then you get others who they just want to get on the gravy train
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And what is missing in a lot of it is, remember I said to you, I like people. Well, we've got to start looking at those who choose to work through us.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all those, you know, parents, brothers, sisters, grandmas, whoever. They have chosen us for a particular reason.
Yeah.
Because maybe, you know, somebody chooses you because they think that you're the right one to get through to their family.
Yeah.
And so it is a privilege. But what we have to remember is that these are real people.
Yeah.
They are not a cardboard cutout with a list of instructions which said they did this, they did that, they were there, they were this, they were that. You know, I do a lot of what I call soul work. And you have to remember that those people in the spirit world, they are souls.
Yeah.
And so the closer we move to souls, be it in this world or that world, you get to know people more. You feel what they feel. You move into their hopes, their dreams, their feelings, and also their emotions. And what you get now is somebody who wants to come along. They want their full name, they want their full address, and what they did for work, and then they give somebody a message.
Yeah.
Now, what is missing, because you do need evidence, but you need to allow the person from spirit to join with you so beautifully that you're actually not talking to them.
Yeah.
You are becoming them.
Yeah.
And so when they look out at whoever they're giving that message to, it's like if I'm a father and that's my son. And you enter into that special energy, and everybody in the church should feel it. That's missing a lot.
Wow. Yeah. I had in my own experience, and I think I was telling you, Alice, about this. I was online doing a service, and I blended with this lady where I become the lady, and her daughter was in the Zoom room, but I could feel the baby in my womb. Obviously, strange being a guy having those feelings, but I started to feel, and that's taken me a long time in my mediumship to get to that point where I've blended with that person so much. It was so profound. And what shocked me was the emotional overload.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that in itself takes preparation, and again on my journey to be able to receive it in that way. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Janet. That's really helped me, actually. It is something that aspiring to blend. We always talk about blends as mediums. We blend with spirit, but do we truly fully understand that blend?
Exactly.
And I think I'm only just starting to.
Yes. And this is why we need to grow into it, because, you know, the more that you are interacting, you find your mediumship changes.
Yeah.
And it becomes more meaningful and less clinical. And you know, it is it's so important to the spirit world.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine how they feel.
Yeah.
And I do believe that, you know, some mediums, they just want to just give the evidence and 100%, and it's as if they're in a contest with themselves to get
Yeah.
much, when in fact you've got someone who might be there crying and saying, but
Yeah.
that's not me, that's about me,
Yeah.
it's not me.
Yeah. And is that a component of today's society? So, and I'm guilty of this. I've got a gentleman here who was 25 when he passed into the spirit world. He went here, and where's the emotion, and where's him in all of that? And I think we're sorry. Go on, Janet.
Paul, always, you know, we were taught, you know, go back, ask them more, ask them more. I would never say that, because I believe that the minute you start to ask, your conscious mind interferes with the subconscious, where we've got that flow. So I say to my students, do you like them? And somebody actually said to me, what's that got to do with it? I said, well, it's like you're meeting somebody for the first time. I'm shaking your hand, and you know, you're very much alive, and you get first impressions. Your first impression, oh, I like him, and that is equally important with the spirit world. Do you like them?
I was going to say, can you imagine them? Yeah, spirit side, them going, do you know what? I don't like this bloke. He's not listening to me.
Yes.
He's just going off on his own tangent. I'm going to go somewhere else. You know,
exactly.
I do. Yeah.
And people don't think enough about the mentality of those in the spirit world. They don't, you know, pause to think, what are they feeling now? And what you have to remember is that evidence is all to do with the person's past when they were here.
Yeah.
But the person in the spirit world has a present. That was their past. They have a present, how they are living now.
Yeah.
And they have a future. Just like us. You know, you will have a card reading or whatever, and there's your past, there's your present, there's your future. But the spirit world are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And by moving into the memories, you can get different things. You can get facts about the past, facts about how did they like their lives, how they were, but then really totally blend.
Yeah.
And think of one of the principles of our movement is about progress, soul progression, and that you're learning all the time. Yeah. So it stands to reason that those who've gone to spirit will have been learning. And maybe when they look back at themselves, they thought, oh God, I don't like me. And so they start to work on themselves. And so what you should be saying, or what you maybe do say, is when they were here, they were like that.
Yeah.
But as I blend with them now, they realize there were mistakes made, or my goodness, they're feeling fulfilled because they're trying to be a better person and to work on whatever it was. You know, you get to know them. It's like having a coffee with someone, and you're getting to know them. And then what are their dreams of the future?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. consciousness is a thing, and in my head I've been using this phrase, what are we when we pass into spirit? We are just a series of memories on our journey. So trying to remember. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm so sorry. We got lots of people saying
No, that's fine. That's fine. I enjoy your questions. So
thank you. I really appreciate
Zoot
that.
Holmes has got a question for you, Janet. What's been your favourite part of your journey so far?
Oh gosh, that's very, very difficult. You know, I'll tell you what I've benefited from, Zoe. Over 20 years ago, I worked quite a lot in Italy. And it was a big society that they had. And we worked in Rome, not far from the Vatican at times. And it was a society for parents who'd lost children. And every year they would have a big congress, and I and some other mediums, it was generally 3 of us, we would be asked to go along, and we would lecture. And you get to lecture beside priests or a monk or a nun, whatever, you know, people that were okay with you. They weren't hellfire and damnation. But we had about 800 people in the hall, you know, and there was screens all the way down. But you did a lot of sittings while you were there, and you'd be in a room, and family after family after family would come along. And sometimes they'd lost one child, sometimes they'd lost 2 or 3. You get young women coming who'd lost their husbands and a child. The mortality rate seemed to be incredible. You've only got to think the way they're driving, but also there's a lot of military accidents, you know.
Yeah.
And no one in their 20s, they could even be older, but mostly they were younger. They were still children. And you can't afford, you can imagine the emotion. And you can't afford to sit and cry.
Yeah.
Because this is where you really feel that you have a purpose. And you say to the spirit, you're emotional. Look at your mum and dad, how emotional they are. Let me do this for you. And that way, it's as if they take a deep breath and you just then go with it.
Yeah.
And mostly, you know, they brought along photographs. And the medium who first took me out, she was an excellent medium, but she says, don't you dare look at those photographs. But I used to think they were so upset. When do I don't want to see the photographs? Because this was their beloved.
Yeah.
This was their precious boy or girl, whatever. And it was a different way of working. And we do 8, sometimes 10 sittings. And it was only when I got into the hotel bedroom at night that I'd allow myself to cry. But I did that for a number of years, and it was the best grounding. And Zoe, it may not have been what you would call happy, but it was so meaningful. It was such an important time to me. So I hope that's an answer that will interest you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because every medium must go through that, controlling the emotion. And I remember another tutor at the Arthur Findlay College, Chris Drew, hope hi Chris, if you're watching, he had a similar situation where a young man had taken his life, and he said, you must control that emotion. You have to work through that. And that's a difficult thing to do. So Helen's asked a question. She said, my question is, plus it's my thoughts too, is that are we already in the spirit world, but we are dreaming being in this reality? Well, it's a lovely idea. It's a beautiful idea.
Well, this is purely my opinion and my thoughts, Helen. We are spirit through and through, and we came from that spirit world, but we're still spirit when we have come into this world. And I don't believe that this world is a dream. I believe that it is almost like, if you think of a college or a primary school, whatever you want to think, I think it's something that you have to go through. And so it's almost like an education. But we are definitely spirit. And that's why we have this ability to blend and also to feel at home in the spirit world.
Yeah.
Can I touch on something that you mentioned, Janet? A bit of interest as well here. I was taught by my tutors, when you're working with spirit world, to bring in the evidence of your communicator, and then from that evidence, open that up once you've got your communicator, and get close to them, be them, and just then come forward with who they are and then the message. So would you say then the evidence isn't really the key at the beginning? It's more to do with the soul connect. You know who I was taught with, so it was evidence-based. So evidence first, get in with the spirit communicator, open this up, and then relay the message. I'm a bit confused. And I'm curious because I want to know. I really want to, because it doesn't matter where you are in your development. You've got to keep expanding. You've got to keep expanding and going with it.
Yeah, but think about what we've said. The world is evolving, Alice. And even since back in the days when I was taught, and then I started to teach differently to how I was taught. And it's because the needs of today are very much different to the needs then.
Absolutely.
That's why when we looked at the physical mediumship, especially after the world wars, people needed that. It was right for them then.
Yes.
But as we move on, and what you have to remember is church platforms, they were the shop window. And you had to, we would say, we have proof. Well, we can provide certain proof, but we don't always have what we call the ultimate proof. So for us to make someone understood, we have to bring evidence of what they were like when they were here.
Yeah, that's right.
Think about this. If all you are doing is giving evidence, where is the presence of the spirit?
Yeah.
Because, and people go on and on about the message, but you know what? Sometimes the message is, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the person, the recipient, to feel them. Do you know what? I remember saying to someone that I know all there is to know about my dad, but somebody could give me 100% evidence, and yeah, that's good, it's good, tick, tick, tick. But then somebody can come along and give me maybe 3 pieces of evidence, and I know exactly who it is that they've brought. But then they bring the presence.
That's right. The presence is important. Absolutely.
It is.
The presence is so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I get you on that. Yeah.
With the presence, it's almost as if the giving off reaches. It reaches, and it's like there's a tangible line of love that goes right across the church, and that's why everyone in the church could be moved by a message that wasn't for them. But what we do get now, we do get a lot of people who are they zoom out, they zone out, because they believe that they're just waiting for something for themselves, and they're not really interested in anyone else.
That's
and
right.
Do you know, I do not have to have a message when I go. I don't have to have a contact, but I absolutely love it when you see some good mediumship and someone gets a contact that moves them so much, and it makes everything worthwhile. It really does. Everything worthwhile. Yeah.
Just with my own experience, I mean, I've always gave the message, and then I've always gave the evidence, and then I've felt, obviously, I always say, just take over me, come that close, take over me, let me be you. And that's the way I've always worked. But it is strange that sometimes it doesn't matter what you give, it's not quite enough, for some people. I gave a great reading to somebody recently, and they were astounded by it. They loved it until the end. And the lady said, yeah, I know everything you've said, and I know that is definitely my mum, but you never gave me her name.
Yeah, I've had that.
And I really panicked, because I thought, I've helped this lady so much, and if I don't get her mum's name, she's going to disbelieve everything I've said. And yet she was sitting, she was emotional, and she said there was things that was said that only her and I had spoke, and I did scream out from the depths of my soul for her name, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a very peculiar name that I didn't want to even say, because I thought, Spirit are having a laugh here. I thought, no way, is this real? And I thought, no, I'm just going to say it. And I said it, and she just looked and she went, oh my goodness, that was my mum's nickname. But it's a pressure.
Yes, exactly. And you really don't need that.
No, it's a terrible pressure.
If someone is so moved and they know everything that you've said, then if you know everything, then you know your mum's name.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
And what your emotions are and the feeling that you are. I've actually not brought your mum's name. I've brought your mum.
I know.
Is that not good enough?
I know.
And it's annoying. And then occasionally, I don't do sittings like only if somebody is very, very in pain. But, when you used to do sittings, when I did them years ago, you think to yourself, why did they come?
Yeah,
why did they come? Because there is so much, they're not giving anything. And, and yes. And then it feels empty.
Yes.
It really does. And sometimes I think, they maybe just wanted everything about them. You know, and of course now, I mean, at the Arthur Findlay College, you would have to say whether you wanted a spiritual assessment. In other words, it's more like a psychic reading, but it's done with the power of the spirit. Or you wanted a mediumistic one, and it makes a difference, But even when you are doing a reading that is a spiritual assessment, you are still tuning into that power, that great power of the spirit. And so, and if somebody is saying, oh, well, that's all psychic, it depends how it's done. Because remember, if you're tuning into the soul of the person's spirit, remember when you're doing a psychic setting, you can read everything from their aura.
Yeah.
That's just like reading a book. But you don't know you can't feel what they feel unless you move into that soul energy. And to know someone, you've got to feel what they feel. And that's the big difference. And even, when you are moving to the spirit world, when you are dying, your soul is moving to the spirit, but even that still has an aura. And when you get people who are training with their mediumship, you get them to use their own power. And Gordon used to say, fill the room, expand your aura. And so you would expand your aura, but the person from the spirit world was doing the same. And so your auras would touch. And from that, you'd start to get snippets about the facts of their life.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until that you reach almost like the nucleus of them, the essence of what they are, you start to feel what they feel. And it's the same with people, the people who are sitting opposite you. And it takes perhaps people don't want the time and the trouble. They just want to move straight in with their head, and give off all this evidence from the aura. And Mavis Battilla, I remember her saying, well, like reading the shell, if you like. But my aura isn't me. It's about me. It's part of me.
Yeah.
It is not the essence of me.
Yeah.
It's not my true spirit. So, getting very deep, aren't we?
Yeah. I could listen to you all day. I really could.
I was just gonna, all day. Yeah.
I was gonna, so much more I want to ask.
And Cindy's put, Janet, I'm drawn in by your grace. And you do have this, I don't know if you're probably aware of this, obviously your training, and I remember doing the class with Eileen Davis, and she has this energy of like love and kindness. I know she practices that meditation, but you too. And I'm sitting here in little old Norfolk, and I believe you're in Yorkshire. Did you say Yorkshire?
Harrogate, yes.
Harrogate. And I can feel that love of spirit coming through your voice, which is a gift, and it's obviously a life of service with spirit.
I absolutely. I love everything it stands for. Spiritualism, or the union, it's not perfect. It really isn't. But it's as close as I can get as to something that is important to me.
Yeah.
And it is it's a calling. It becomes your life. Yeah. I remember going to see Gordon just 3 weeks before he passed the spirit. And he followed me out to the car, and he says, you know, he says, you must make spiritualism your life. And that was the last thing that he ever said to me. And I truly have. But I mean, I'm kind of retiring from it now. But happily so, because, you know, my husband, my family have stood by me for years while I, you know, went round the world and doing. And I honestly need to give back now to them. And yeah.
Lovely.
Understand.
Rachel Arnold's put a lovely comment. I remember watching Janet as one of my first experiences at church, and she filled my heart with such depths and warmth. I've never forgotten it. And that's really important, especially being a first experience.
It is. Where is she from? Where is she from?
I believe, Janet, sorry, Rachel, I believe you're near Leeds. Am I right in saying that? I'm definitely Yorkshire as well. So she's not too far from you, I don't think.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I used to listen to you, Janet, as well, and there was no one else in the room. It was just you in Spirit World on that platform. There was no one else there.
That's how it gets.
It was amazing, but it was also an indescribable feeling that I felt with you, and always have any time that you have done a demonstration and you've done an address. It's you're right there. You're right there with you. You know, yeah.
Okay, here's a big question. How can what would you give to those budding mediums out there to become what you and Gordon and others like you have become? That being able to give such a fantastic connection and be such a fantastic ambassador, as Jason's watching. We interviewed Jason on here as well. His interview is still on YouTube, guys. You go check it out.
He's been on some of my courses.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You were the first teacher. You were his first teacher, he said.
Yeah.
There we are
Awesome.
then. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. In good hands. In good hands. But as I was saying, how do we aspire to bring that essence of spirit, not just in everything we deal with when we're working, when we're giving of ourselves?
Yeah. It's you've got to be dedicated. And I know that's very, very difficult because, you know, we live in a fast society and people have lots of things going on in their lives. But do not run around doing this course, that course, you know, finding out about, it's like people who want readings. So they'll go to a tarot reader, crystal ball, they will go to a kinesiologist, they will go to all of those, running around till they get to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
But those who are genuine, who really want to do this, not because they've never been important before and they want to be important, but they're genuine because they feel that is something within them that speaks to them and they want to help. I would say keep going. It's a lonely path. It's a soul's journey. A lady that I know, a medium, she used to say the holes in her back got so big that the knives used to fall out. And you have to deal with all this kind of stuff because people get threatened by you. Yeah. If they believe that you've got something, they feel threatened. And that's such a pity.
So can I just stop you there, Janet? Now, that is such a massive subject and something that I've really struggled to the point where I've wanted to give up and walk away.
Yes, me too, many times.
And I feel like it can be like a poison chalice sometimes. So again, young mediums that are coming into this, and I want to call it a community, which is why I created Spiritual Talk.
Yes.
I want us to be a community so we can be of service and be educated, so we're not falling into that ego trap.
Yes.
So how do we navigate through that? What did you do to get through that?
Because it's as if you learn so much about your own spirit, your own soul, and just say to yourself, they're not going to take this away from me, because this belongs to me. And keep your head down and keep going. And you know, there are always going to be those who feel threatened, they, you know, or they don't like you for various reasons. And it's very easy for others to say, oh, well, that's their problem. But when you are a medium, you are so sensitive. And sometimes you get oversensitive. And that's when all the doubts start to creep in. And that's why I was, you know, saying to you about, you know, I wanted to do some of this stuff for me, because inside, if you truly learn to know yourself, inside you will know that this is right for you. And spirit will know that you are right for them. And so keep going, because we have lost many young people, all because someone doesn't like the way they do things, or they are not doing the things in the way they want them to. Always remember that, and remember this is, you know, leaders of circles or whatever, that there are going to be people who will come and you will think, wow, they're going to be really good. And you want to be part of that journey, because we need good people. But we need kind people as well. Because even those who are going to be really good fall apart. Just as I have done. And, you know, it's up to us to be the healer, be the teacher, be the friend, but most of all, just be a good person. You know?
That so beautifully said. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for agreeing to come on Spiritual Talk, which I do believe will become one of our top 5, because it's been brilliant. It's been so informative, and we're truly blessed to have you here tonight. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Before you go though, Janet, we always offer a free half-hour reading to people that share, so we get this information out there, all your experience. Hopefully someone somewhere in the world is going to watch this interview tonight and take something from your words of inspiration, which has been beautiful. So that's all we could ever hope for. So we ask the guys at home to share, and then one of us will do them a free half-hour reading. And I believe it's my turn this week, and I believe. Oh, hi, John.
One of my very good friends.
Yeah, and again, another gentleman that's been on Spiritual Talk. So yeah, brilliant. So can you see the comments on the right hand side?
No, I saw one that came as I saw John's come up underneath.
Okay, on the right hand side.
Wait a minute. If I click on comments.
There's loads of people.
There we are. Okay.
Yeah. So guys, let us know if you've shared. Let us know if you shared. I know a lot of people have said, Chris Wheatley said she shared it into every group. I think even including in the gardening group, but I'm not sure if they'd appreciate it.
The flowers will grow.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Oh, this is so nice of people. I can only hope that my words have given somebody hope. And years ago, I used to, because people would say, "Well, what do you want to be?" And I wanted to inspire people. And one of the things that I've always said is, if you are aiming to be a medium or a speaker, be the speaker or the medium that inspires you. And, that's always, or even be the kind of teacher that you would have liked to have had. So it's about recognizing each other as people who care and, people who they need encouragement. So,
Janet, can I ask one last question? Can I be
Yeah.
cheeky and ask what the world needs you? Why are you retiring?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
No.
No pressure. But
Yeah.
I do get it. But thank
Look,
you.
I'm 74, and I don't want to be, going on for ever and ever. And I always say to, some of my friends who know me very well, who are involved in the movement, if I get like that, please tell me, because know when to pull away. I actually retired from the Arthur Findlay College 4 years ago.
Okay.
There was myself and Simon James, Brian Robertson, and it was time for me to kind of, I knew that I'd taught there for 25 years, and and I'd given and given. And a couple of years ago, and it was just before COVID and right through COVID, I was really quite ill. And that's why we moved back to England, because both my sons live in England. But there's Neil. But I have to look after me, and I can't do what I used to, because I used to think nothing of doing a full day of sittings and, and all of this and all of that. So I pace myself and I do what I can. And I choose things very carefully. And when Alice asked, it just felt right. So, I feel very honoured to have been asked.
Oh, well, I'm not sure we feel the honour, don't we, Alice? We feel very honoured.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask a quick question, Paul, before we leave?
Yeah, of course.
Janet, will you ever write a book about your story, your experiences?
People have asked me so many times, and I'm not really a book writer. There was once, when I'd got a lot of chapters that were kind of put together, but when it came kind of into a pre-prints kind of thing, it just didn't feel like me. So I said no. And so you have to have me live. Then,
it would be good, though, for people to read and always have, because you are a lovely soul, and it's what a legacy that would be for everybody and upcoming mediums as well for the future. I would say to you, Janet, never say never.
Yeah.
Well, we do. We never say never. But I mean, I brought out CDs, and well, there were meditation CDs, and some had got lectures on. And then Paul Jacobs, he had this wonderful idea, and it was called Letters from Heaven. which, funnily enough, was one of my exercises that I used to call Letters from Heaven. But so we wrote words, and Stourbridge Church used to use my letter from a mother every Mother's Day for the audiences, you know, I enjoyed that because I think my voice carries weight. Sometimes, maybe more than words. I don't know, Alice. Never say never, but yes. Letters from Heaven, amazing. Yes, I think Edinburgh Church is the only place that has Letters from Heaven left. Some copies of that. Yes.
A long one from Glenda. Nice to see you, Glenda Marie. I hope you are home now, all safe.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Can I ask you just to pick a name from the shared comments, and then we'll let you go?
To pick a name. Oh,
yes,
gosh,
please. No pressure.
There was a lady called Helen Cullen, was she?
There's Helen Cullen Charlesworth.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about that?
Perfect. Just get in contact and we can arrange a free half-hour reading. Lovely. Congratulations, Helen.
Helen has asked a question, right enough. She has said,
right at the end.
Yeah, did you see it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you still do part-time teaching?
I've been doing some Zoom teachings, and in fact, Alice has been part of my groups on Zoom until she became
back in again, Janet. I'm coming
very,
back
very
in
busy.
Coming back in here.
I'm actually I'm going up to do the Christmas service in Glasgow, as I said to you. But I always do, every year I do one in Edinburgh with a workshop. So I do occasionally real ones. I do some Zoom classes. But I have my own little private spiritual group.
I haven't put your details on any links or messages because I know you don't need that. People come find you, Janet, don't they?
They do.
Thank you so much for this receiving from the bottom of our hearts. It's been a beautiful interview. I thoroughly enjoyed your company. Don't really want to go, but we do have to go because people have to go to bed. We're now, myself and Alice are going to go over on Zoom just to do a few messages for you guys. And we'll be back this time next week. It's you and Jennifer next week, isn't it, Alice?
It is, yeah, Paul, it is.
We've got another gentleman coming on, which is going to be another great guest. And do you know what? I've got a memory of a goldfish, and it's just gone right out of my head. But stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Well, look out for the ads. It's coming out very, very soon. So it's time to say goodbye, everybody. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
God bless.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.